Hi, we're going to take a look at the Ledger Nano S cryptocurrency hardware wallet. Click, I don't know, here somewhere or at the end of the video if you want to see the Trezor teardown. And I'll kind of do a bit of a comparison with the Trezor. Now, this is actually a cheaper solution, the Ledger Nano S, for a hardware wallet than the Trezor. The Trezor is about 170 Australian dollars. The Ledger Nano S is about 119 Australian dollars. It's about 105 US versus like 70 US or something like that. But prices vary greatly on these things. And by the way, you should only buy these things from the official suppliers. Don't buy it from some one hung low shop on eBay, that's for sure. But anyway, let's take a look at this. The look and feel of this thing. This is the first time I've actually had it. It's not sure what type of plastic that is. Is it some sort of Delrin? I'm not sure, but I expected this one to feel a bit better because the Trezor, one of the main complaints I had about it is that it was quite flimsy. Yes, that's not normally there. I've actually Dremeled open this case and then I've used my soldering iron to close it in. It still works a treat. So it's fine. But yeah, it's just flimsy. It's not like I want like a proper, I don't know, like a die-cast or machined alloy case or something like that. But yeah, the Ledger Nano S, it doesn't feel any better. I'm not a fan of these flippy things. Some people are. Anyway, they've both got the micro USB there on them. So that's one of my fears, is that, you know, if I plug this in and out too much, I use it too much, I'm going to wear and tear on the micro USB socket there. Anyway, we've got two buttons on the side, a little OLED screen, presumably, on there. It's smaller than the Trezor. The Trezor's already hard enough to read that thing. Anyway, hardware cryptocurrency wallets, these are the places that you want to store your coins, be they Bitcoins or altcoins. You want to store them on a hardware wallet because it's the most secure location possible. The advantage of a hardware wallet is that when you actually set it up and you generate your seed key, your private seed key, which we'll see here, let's actually do a little bit of an unboxing. Ta-da! And we get the requisite USB cables and whatnot, and that's it, a few little lanyards, whoop-de-doo. Let's open this. Welcome, and we should have a recovery card sheet. Did you notice there is no anti-tampering sticker on this box? Yes, I did. There, it was wrapped, it was like shrink wrapped, but there was no security sticker. Why? Because this one actually has a separate secure chip inside there that does a some sort of checksum, presumably to check the integrity of the Ledger device's internal software each time it's powered on. So that's an advantage of the Ledger Nano S over the Trezor. But the Trezor is completely open source hardware and software. So not only can you make your own version of this, if you're ultra paranoid, you can actually get the schematics and you lay in the PCB files, you can get your own manufactured, all the firmware, everything is open source. This one is not. I don't believe there's a schematic for this at all. And some of it is open source, the applications and the interface are open source, but they do not release the firmware as open source. And one of the reasons for that is that the cryptographic chip, it uses a two-chip solution. There's a regular micro in here, just like the Trezor, and but it uses a separate cryptographic chip which has various hardware protections built into the die to stop, you know, reverse engineering penetration and things like that. But yes, the cryptographic chip in here is actually, you can't buy it and you can't get the data sheet for it. It's an under NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. That's why Trezor specifically didn't use one of those chips, is because they wanted this to be completely open source, and it is. So anyone can come along and check the integrity of this. The Ledger Nano S, not so much. So for the ultra paranoid out there, the Trezor is a better bet. But hey, like, there's nothing wrong with the Ledger Nano S, let me tell you. So anyway, the advantage of a hardware wallet like this is that not only are you in physical possession of it, the keys stored in there, when you set this up, you're setting up the seed key, which is everything. Let's have a look in the back here. We should get a sheet to store it. Yep, there it is, to store our 24-word recovery phrase on here. And anyone who has these list of 24 words, they're not just random characters, they're actually words. I'll show you in a minute. They don't need your hardware wallet. You keep it in your wallet and somebody steals your wallet, like your physical actual wallet that you put in your pants, then, or down your DAX if you're super paranoid, with one of those RFID shields in it. Anyway, I've done a video on that, which I might link in at the end for those tinfoil hat people. So anyone who has access to these keys, which we'll write down, doesn't need this at all to steal your coins. They can just recover it anywhere. So actually keeping this secure with your keywords on is more important than keeping this secure. You can lose either of these, and if they don't have your PIN code or password to get in, then they're screwed, right? But if they get access to this recovery seed, they can just recover that to either another hardware device or recover it to a software wallet that, in the case of both the Ledger and the Trezor, there's 24 words here. So any wallet, software or hardware that supports the BIP39 protocol, BIP39/44, can use this recovery seed and you can get your coins back. So don't fear if one of these fails. A lot of people ask, well, what happens if I lose my hardware wallet, or it breaks, or the connector breaks, or whatever like that? Well, no big deal. As long as you got this, you can recover. So the advantage of these hardware wallets is that the seed is actually generated on this physical hardware itself, which can't be intercepted by the USB. It doesn't travel over the USB. So if your computer's infected with spyware or malware or whatever, where possible, it cannot read the seed out of this while you're setting it up. So unless someone is physically looking over your shoulder at these keywords when you install it, or they've got a copy of this somehow, then it's completely secure. The problem with setting up a wallet, a software wallet on your phone or your PC, is that you can have spyware, malware on there, which don't visit those porn sites. Kiddies, I'm telling you, they'll steal your cryptocurrency seed from you quicker than you can set the thing up, I suspect. Or they'll steal it now and hack you later. Anyway, you don't know that your PC or your phone is secure when it could have a screen grabber in there, it could have a key tracker or whatever, and it can log the seeds. So yeah, you don't want that. That's the advantage of the hardware wallet. You can physically set it up completely isolated from the outside world. Beauty. So anyway, it doesn't feel as great as I suspected. Is that, can I pop the back off there? Is that ultrasonically welded? I don't know. I might try and get my knife in there. Anyway, we'll do a teardown of this thing. But yeah, it's just not as bulky and secure. Give it a bit of a twist test there. I can twist. There's a bit of twist in that. Not as much as the Trezor. The Trezor, you know, if you put it in your back pocket, you could really get in trouble with that. If you sat on it, could squash the damn thing. Anyway, maybe it's a bit more robust than Trezor a little bit, but I expected more robustness inside like a hardware wallet. I would happily pay for a premium version of any of these where I could actually, you know, like get a more physically robust unit. And I'm thinking about designing my own version of the Trezor, because it is open source hardware, into a more robust version. But they've got the new Model T coming out very shortly. I have pre-ordered one. It's a bit more expensive than this one, so hopefully I'll do a video on that soon. So anyway, let's configure the device. We've got to go to the website. All we do is plug it in, and I'm sure it'll tell us what we need to do, and write down our recovery phase, because that's the first step to setting up your hardware wallet. All right, for you ultra tinfoil hat people, I'm not going to hook it up to the computer. I'm going to power it from an external battery pack. But as I said, you don't have to do this, because the recovery seed it's going to generate here does not ever travel over the USB. It's generated internally and displayed internally. Anyway, oh geez, that's a tiny little pissant screen, isn't it? Welcome. Oh geez, my old eyes, I can barely read that. Welcome. Press both buttons to begin. Jeez, this is like, really, if you haven't got great eyesight, these things are terrible. Use left-right buttons to change values and interact and navigate through multiple first choice lists. Yeah, great. Okay, configure as new device. It gives you different options to either configure a new device, recover an existing device, I believe, or whatever. So anyway, we're setting up the new device. Choose a PIN code. So you can actually go up and down. And this one actually allows you to enter a PIN code of 0, which the Trezor doesn't do, by the way. So you can do that and then just press both buttons and then that's put it in. So it's going to ask us to confirm our PIN code. It's a little bit tedious, but yeah, you've got to do it. So you can have at minimum a 4-digit PIN code. I've put in a 6-digit PIN code, but you can have up to 8 as well. That's very nice. Phrase, here we go. This is the most important part, because if you get this, if you write this down wrong and you lose your hardware wallet, you are screwed. You've lost your coins. That's it, all over Red Rover. Word number 1, bunker. I've got a bunker. Cool. So you just write these down on your sheet here. Make sure you get it right. The reason that they use words is that if you're like random digits are harder to write down properly, but words are much easier. So even if you misspelled it on here, you kind of can, you're not completely screwed. You can, get the word correct when you re-enter it. But this is the point where you don't want anyone to look over your shoulder. I really love Fury Panda. Anyway, you can scroll back and forth at will for as long as you want through all these keywords, so that's great. But as I said, this is really quite hard to see. If you don't, if you've got aging eyesight or other eye issues, then, it's not easy. Okay, we're done. Confirm our recovery phrase. Right, so it's put up the words and then you have to take your list that you just got down and actually match the word that matches the select word on here. So it's a bit tedious to set these things up and time consuming, but well worth it. It didn't ask me to do all 24 of them, it just did like half a dozen selection there, and your device is now ready. We are set up. So we now have our recovery phrase, which we go put in our safe deposit box somewhere, or buried in the backyard. I don't know, whatever you want to do with it. Don't lose that bit of paper. And we're in like Flynn, and here we go. Now we have to hook it up to the computery thing and do our stuff. So out of the box, it only supports Bitcoin and Ethereum by the looks of it. Have to go to the website, install the apps. And we've got some settings on here. Let's go in here. We can do display, brightness, rotate if you want, or invert colors, whoop-de-doo. Security, we can auto lock it. We can change our PIN number. We can shuffle our PIN number. Or we can set an additional passphrase as well. That's like a 2-level protection. The Trezor has this one as well. And for the ultra paranoid, you want both a PIN number and a passphrase as well. And you can set up multiple wallets with inside there. So if someone's got a gun to your head and saying, give me your password for your wallet, then you can give them the PIN code and they can access like a small amount, and then you can have a bigger amount hidden away inside. So yeah, I guess people robbing you have to know that. And the device, for those playing along at home, firmware 1.31. Oh, that's the secure element. So that's the secure chip processor on here. And the MCU is the microcontroller unit. That's just the ST ARM micro, I believe it uses inside this thing, version 1.1. Okay, let's give it a go. Let's actually physically plug this baby in. And we've got to enter our PIN code. They're the different versions of the Ledger. They all work very similar, so don't worry about that. So all we have to do now is basically install the various apps. Now, one very different difference between the Ledger and the Trezor is that you have to basically, the PIN code on this, you have to dick around actually entering it with the buttons on here. I much prefer the way the Trezor does it, where it actually pops up with a randomized keypad on the screen, so that even if you have keylogger software or screen grabber software, malware installed on your machine, it doesn't know the sequence of key codes which is defined inside here. But then you can use your mouse and your PC to actually access that. It's just better than dicking around with those buttons. Entered my PIN code and we're in like Flynn, and Windows 10, which I'm using here, has just said it only took like 5 seconds. It automatically installed the drivers and it's all set up hunky-dory, ready to go. Didn't have to download anything. Beauty. So we definitely want to have a Bitcoin wallet support. So let's click on the install, like add to Chrome, okay, whatever, Ledger wallet. So do we have to add a plugin for each individual coin, altcoin and Bitcoin that we want to support? Trezor in this case is much easier because you install one Chrome app or whatever browser you're using. I'm sure it works on other browsers, but I just happen to use Chrome. And that's it. You get one app which supports everything, although the Trezor has a limited coin support. The Ledger actually supports more coins, but you have to set up each one differently. Oh, geez, add app. Okay. Launch app. Ledger Wallet Bitcoin. To begin, connect and unlock your Ledger Wallet. Done. It looks like I've got to actually select use wallet to view accounts. Okay, I didn't have to. I don't think I had to reconnect. There you go. Which coin do you want to use? Bitcoin, remember my choice, or Bitcoin Cash? Legacy or SegWit? Oh, see, I won't go into the differences between segregated witness, which is all part of the blockchain, and how it's split, and or like it's complicated. Anyway, we'll go with the new SegWit format. No wuckers, and your wallet is synchronizing. This may take a few minutes. I'll come back. Actually, that didn't take long at all. Only a few more seconds, and we're in like Flynn. There we go. We have our account. We have nothing in it, of course, because it's a brand new one, but we can just send coins directly in. So we can receive it. Bingo. There's our Bitcoin address if you want to send me Bitcoins. I don't know. I might damage this in the teardown. So don't send them to that address. By the way, I do accept Bitcoin and many different altcoin donations linked in down below on my website. Thank you very much to everyone who donates. And I have no doubts it will accept our Bitcoin. Not a problem. Let's try the others. And I'm really finding it tedious to enter the PIN code on this. I've said that multiple times. And as for this Bitcoin Cash option here, this is a bit confusing. If you had a previous account, you want to claim your cash coins and that sort of stuff, or you can use your split, main or split. It's not, if you're a beginner, not entirely obvious. I've already got the separate one, so I want to choose the split option to transact using a dedicated account. So synchronizing, this might take a few minutes, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, that's not obvious if you're a beginner. I want it to just go in there. The Trezor's much better in this particular case. So there we go. I'm going to send myself some Bitcoin Cash. Yay! I have my first Bitcoin Cash stored on here. I've got 0.001 Bitcoin Cash. That's the minimum I could transfer. In fact, I transferred 0.002 Bitcoin Cashes, and the fee was 0.001. So I received 0.001 Bitcoin Cash. Current value is $3.73. So there you go. Try and hack it and get my Bitcoin Cash. Go for it. And that took 1 minute and 51 seconds to, for those playing along at home, for me to transfer that from another exchange that I had to this. So there you go. It works. We got settings. We can go in here and we can check the hardware, whether or not we got an update and stuff like that. And we got coins required confirmations to spend it and things like that. High, fast confirmation, but that will cost you more coins to actually confirm. To get a faster transaction, it costs you more. Or if you want to spend and get the minimum amount of fees, you can just go slow if you want it to take a day or whatever, how long it takes. Bitcoin is pretty notoriously slow. Bitcoin Cash is faster, and Ripple is faster again. So we can actually do that. We can actually go back in here and we can set up our Ripple wallet, because I'm into Ripple. Ledger Whipper. I don't like dicking around having to download all these things, but I guess you only do it once. But it's not terrific. The Trezor is a better, easier to use solution, I think, especially for entering in the PIN code is much less dicky, and it's sort of all integrated. But the Trezor supports a larger number of altcoins. Take your pick. Now this is interesting. It looks like it's an EXE there for the Ripple wallet. So that's not terrific. I thought it was just another Chrome app. Nope, it's an EXE. So there you go. We've got to actually install an EXE, create a desktop shortcut. I like the Trezor in that it just worked from the, the Chrome web app, and then that was it. Ledger Wallet Ripple. Here it is. To begin, I've got to unlock the damn thing again. The Ethereum one. So we'll give that a whirl. I'll tell you what. I'm clicking on this thing and it ain't doing jack. So I don't know. I've opened it up here. Use your wallet to view account. So I've got my you know, I've chosen the Ethereum one on here and it's just quit app. Maybe I'll try it again. Okay, I just repowered it and re-entered my tedious pin code and we're in. So, switch the power off and on again when in doubt. Yeah, I don't know. The Trezor's always worked every time for me. This one's kind of not. Maybe it will from now on, but yeah, not a good first impression. Anyway, we can receive some ether. I'll send myself some. Beauty. Alright, and if we have a look down here, there's not much, oh, advanced mode. There you go. Let's go with contract data. If we receive, we can never receive the hex code or the IBAN code, send by email, print. There's not much else doing there. Really? Gas limit, gas price. I won't go into details of gas. But my ether hasn't come through yet. It's probably lost in the ether. And for those playing along at home, that took 3.5 minutes basically to transfer the ether over. I transferred 0.1 ether. That was the minimum I could transfer from my other exchange, and it cost me 1 milli ether. Jeez, it's a bit rich, isn't it? To be fair, the Trezor actually doesn't have native support for ether, for storing ether in the with the Trezor itself. It actually teams up with my ether wallet, and I haven't used it for that. And I think that's a downside to the Trezor. The Trezor is great for Bitcoin and the other couple that it supports natively, but ether's not one of them. So you've got to team up with the software wallet, but allows you access to it, and it's a multi-step process. And so the Ledger's probably nicer solution if you're going to be storing some ether. Tell you what though, it would have been nice if it just like got an exchange value from somewhere and told you what the rough price, you know, the rough worth of your ether is, like it did for the Bitcoin one, Bitcoin Cash one, but yeah, it doesn't do it. That would have been nice. Aha! I RTFM'd, read the freaking manual, and I found out why it doesn't run the Ripple app, because I haven't installed the Ripple application on here. Obviously, it should give you like a Ripple option, so I've got to go into the Ledger Manager, and I've got to actually download the application to the Ledger device. Don't worry, because this is, yeah, you can install, run the apps on the main processor, but your seed and everything is secure inside that secure hardware chip inside here. So don't worry, there's no vulnerability in there, and all the apps are open source. So, hey, anyone can go in there and check the validity of the whole thing. No worries. So now I've got to get and download the Manager app. It's just much more dicking around, but hey, it supports a lot more altcoins than the Trezor does. There we go, that's better. Connected to the Ledger Nano S at the moment, and it's got, we can go to the firmware, no items to display. Anyway, applications, we can download. Here's what we support: Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Dogecoin, Ethereum, Fido, UTF, Komodo, Litecoin, Strata, Zcash, hello, Ripple, there we go, we want to download that, and a whole bunch of altcoins, which the Trezor does not support. They're thinking about adding support for various ones, but it takes time. You can actually pay these companies to actually, including Trezor and others, to add support for your coin. You know, it costs like $50,000, $100,000 or something. One of the hardware wallets charges to actually add support. So if you're developing a new coin, because there's 1,000 coins, more than 1,000 or something, and if you've developed one, then you can actually pay these hardware wallets, if you've got the money, the developers of the hardware wallets, to add support for your coin. Well, it's open source, isn't it? Presumably you can develop your own open source app, but they will write it for you. Anyway, we are going to download Ripple, and for security it is asking me to confirm processing. It's installing. Hey, done. That was quick. I should now have access to, yes, I have Ripple. Hey, to begin, connect your Ledger wallet. It's already connected. Like, if entered, like, once again, I've got to disconnect the thing and replug it. I might even have to, like, restart the app. I don't like it. Once again, turn the power off and on again, and we're in like Flynn. You know, I'm still waiting for my Ripple, but if we send it, then the fee is very low, 0.001 Ripple. That's a lot less than what my other exchange charged me, that's for sure. Like many orders of magnitude less. But come on, seems to be a low frequency Ripple. Hey, we're in, and that took 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes, and we've got our 25 was the minimum Ripple I could send, and I got charge 0.15 Ripple. I think I got ripped. So what I don't like about this ledger is that compared to the Trezor, is that, yeah, I've got all these different apps to run to access my different altcoins, and that might be okay, but I kind of, even though Trezor doesn't support many, I can actually swap between Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and the other ones inside just the one web-based, you know, web extension on Chrome, and it just works really well, and it gives me a little graph of how many, like the amount of, you know, coins that have been trading over time and stuff like that. I don't, you know, this one has like, it looks like it has a history, but it doesn't give you like graphs or anything like that. So the Trezor's a nicer interface. And then if we want to send some Bitcoin Cash, for example, so let's send that. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Preparing transaction. Let's send some Bitcoins. Here we go. And it says the amount. Now, here's the problem, which I have with the ledger, is that it gives you the amount. That flicker you see is actually the just the camera frame update rate. It doesn't give you the full address, so that's not good. Whereas the Trezor will give you the full address because it has the bigger screen on there, and you can make sure every digit is correct. So technically speaking, you could exploit that with a man in the middle, what's called a man in the middle attack. I won't explain that, but it's possible in theory anyway. Like, it's highly unlikely, but because it doesn't display confirm the full address on here, it could potentially be spoofed, and yeah, it's just an exploit. But it's just a technical thing. It's not a huge deal, but yeah, technically that is possible. So I'm going to confirm my amount and confirm that and confirm the address and fees. I've got to confirm the fees. Confirm transaction. There we go. Use wallet to view access. Sending failed. Wah, 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 wah. Why? An error occurred. Oh, it's not a great first experience, is it? Don't know why. Just tried again. Failed again. I don't know. What? Don't have enough Bitcoin Cash to pay for it, or what? What's going on? And I was just about to send some Ripple back, but I just remembered you got to actually seed it with exactly with a minimum of 20 Ripple for the first transaction, and I don't. I'm a pauper. I've only got 4.84 Ripple. Oh, now this is weird. I just put in another 50 Ripple in. Sent another 50 Ripple over, took a couple of minutes, and sure enough, it's now showing up as 74.70 balance. It was actually showing up as 0 for like 30 seconds there. I was starting to panic, like my Ripple had disappeared. But like, where is the transaction? Like it hasn't last operations. It's showing up there, but my balance is that's the first one I transferred, not the second one. So, like, will it make a fool out of me now if I refresh it? I don't get it. Anyway, let's send some Ripple. Send, confirm transaction. Unexpected error occurred. Confirm transaction. I give up. I give up, really. I'm having problems sending Bitcoin Cash and Ripple. Like, what the hell? No, hold on to your hats. It is, like, it confirmed with the address up here eventually, but it kept saying error. Now it says that the transaction's being processed. So I'm not getting good vibes out of this thing. Like, it just seems buggy. Not the least bit impressed by it, really. Nah, I just got unexpected error again. This is hopeless. And here it is. We're in like Flynn. This is far too easy. A hardware wallet should not be this easy to get into. Now, I know this is being a bit pedantic on my part, but I want two things from a hardware wallet. A, I want it to be physically robust so that it can survive. I know that if you lose it, then you can recover from the passphrase, but you know, that's like a last resort sort of thing. I want it to be robust, and I want it so that people can't physically access the thing and potentially do hardware side channel attacks or whatever it is on this thing to extract your seed key from it. Like, you know, let's just be ultra paranoid and say that, you know, you're carrying one of these through the airport or something and they go, oh, you've got a hardware wallet, we're going to inspect that, and they take it from you, they take it into another room. What are they going to do to it? You just don't know. And in this case, it's just got a clip-on plastic case. I just got my knife in the side and boop, it pops straight off. So anyone could physically take this apart and access the hardware in here, access the pins directly, probe them, do whatever, without you knowing that they've even opened the thing. And like, geez, put some potting in here. In fact, if you got one of these, I would probably just open it up and fill it up with some potting compound, A, to make it more robust, and B, to make it more physically secure. Anyway, I know it's being very pedantic because these things, especially the Ledger here, is very secure. So what have we got inside here? Well, we've got an ST ARM micro. It's a 32F042K, and there's no external clock on here, so it's running from an internal clock, which is different to the Trezor. If you've seen the teardown of that, it's actually got an external clock, and that's technically marginally more secure with using the internal clock, because then you can't do attacks like hardware attacks, that hacking attacks that try and use the clock, slow it down and glitch the clock and do all sorts of things like that. Now, this is what makes the Ledger so good. This is the ST31H320 secure chip. This is where your seed device is generated and stored. Unlike the Trezor, which is just stored inside a regular ARM microcontroller, and you're just relying on the not very good security inside a physical hardware security inside an ARM micro. These chips are specifically designed in the industry to be really secure devices, and they're certified and rated by various, you know, certification agencies for security and that type of stuff. And they're used inside all types of secure products, and they'll physically, even though you can't get a data sheet for this because it's under a non-disclosure agreement, you might be able to maybe find some patents on it or something like that, but it's probably got like a mesh physically covering the die in there, and other various physical protection to stop you actually probing the device. So even if you were able to dissolve away the chip itself with some acid, this one actually looks, you know, is it ceramic? I don't know. Anyway, it's not your regular plastic package by the looks of it. But yeah, even if you were able to dissolve that away, then you can't physically get in there and probe the die, because they've probably got some mesh protection or other physical hardware protection inside the chip itself. And that's what makes the Ledger technically more secure than the Trezor, is because it uses that device. So there you go. Up here we've got another ST part. This is actually a ST8R00, and this is actually a boost converter, a boost voltage converter. So why they need a boost voltage converter in there, I'm not sure. Do they need it for the chip or for the display, perhaps? Strange. And for those who are curious, there's the bottom of the board. There's no components on there. It's just a double-sided board. And there is the display. Now, I could actually get like the scope in there and try and, you know, do some power line monitoring to see if there's data coming out and stuff like that. But really, I'm like... this is one of the industry's best secure chips, and there's there's no way I'm going to be doing going to be able to hack this thing. So for those people, oh, just give it a try, hook it up. Well, no, I don't have the expertise to hack secure crypto chips and stuff like this, nor do I have the time to even try. So I'd really be wasting my time with you know, trying to do that. Many other people have tried, I'm sure, that are experts in the the field. Anyway, yeah, my only complaint is that it's like, God, they couldn't even glue this on. They couldn't even glue it on. Let alone like or ultrasonically welded or anything. Like at least the Trezor is like glued together, and you have to pretty much Dremel the case open so that you physically know if someone's tried to access your hardware in there. Which is more important for that because like this chip is pretty darn secure. So I guess it's just like a small argument. But if somebody ever did find an exploit for this, and it wasn't publicly known, and they could physically get access to your hardware, then, well, you know, they could technically get in there and get your data. But we're entering ultra paranoid territory. I mean, they have to A, physically get this device, and B, and really it's much easier just to go to your bedside drawer and try and find your recovery seed card than to try and extract your seed out of this. But you know, anyway, this is technically more secure than the Trezor. So if you're worried about vulnerabilities inside just your regular ST micros in your Trezor, that's where your seed is stored. So it's more vulnerable. It's got an external clock. There's various more side channel attacks you could potentially do to that than an already proven and secure and industry rated secure chip like is what's used in the Ledger here. Why can't they just sell a version or fill this with potting compound? Why? Just pot it. I know it costs more as a manufacturing step, but they already make an absolute mozza margin on these things anyway. As you can see, there's not much in it. I don't know how much the secure chip costs though. Well, there you have it. That's a look at the Ledger Nano S. And, well, in a little bit of a comparison with the Trezor here. And have I seen enough in the Ledger Nano S to make me want to switch from the Trezor, which I've been using? Basically, no. A lot of people swear by this thing, and it is cheaper than the Trezor. So if you're looking for the cheapest hardware solution, and you should be using a hardware solution to store your coins, absolutely no doubt. So a lot of people swear by this thing, but I've had too many little niggling problems with this, and I still haven't been able to send anything using this. So I don't know what's up. I still need to play with it some more. But a separate app for every single coin that you got to support, but it does support more coins than the Trezor. Yeah, I'm not really impressed by this, but in terms of hardware security, technically this one's better than this because it uses the secure chip in it to store your seed, and it's an industry standard chip and it's well proven, whereas the Trezor just uses your standard micro. So technically, in theory, this is susceptible, and it has been in the past, and they've fixed it, but it hasn't been a major deal. But it, technically, because it uses a standard non-secure micro, not only susceptible to like USB attacks, power glitching attacks, and other sorts of stuff like that, but it's also susceptible to like a supply chain type attack, i.e. you buy it from the one hung low merchant on eBay, and well, you know, there's no way for this to know, like it doesn't have any like device ID built in. It can't sort of, you know, checksum itself. The firmware checksums itself, but not as good as this. This actually has an individual secure ID inside the secure chip itself. So technically that's another exploit possible with this thing. That's why you've got to buy it from a genuine supplier, or you can build your own from scratch, because this thing's completely open source hardware and this one's not. So there's pros and cons both ways. There's absolutely no clear winner here, but I'm going to stick with my Trezor for now. I'm going to play with the Ledger Nano S some more, but as I said, really any technical argument about which one is more secure is pretty moot when it's basically in theory, because you've physically got the device, and really you're more vulnerable by the actual seed card that you need to write down the words is much more vulnerable than these things. So, you know, if you could debate which one's more secure, technically this one's a bit better, but this one's open hardware, so it's fully checkable, etc., etc. You can build your own, whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's all about the user interface experience and the fact that you've got a proven hardware wallet. So they're both fine from that aspect. Looking forward to getting the new Trezor, which is coming out, the Model T. I've pre-ordered one of those. But yeah, I don't know. There's just, I expected better from this. I've had too many little glitchy problems, and I still can't get back into my Ether wallet. By the way, I'm clicking the damn button to get in, and I'm repowering it, and I can't recommend this at this stage. Whereas the Trezor, I've been using this and I haven't really had a single issue with it, and I've been getting my split coins and stuff on it, and I've been using the beta wallet for this thing, not just the main wallet, and I've had no issues. So yeah, Ledger Nano S, I'm not going to call it a fail, but I just need to spend some more, you know, I need to figure out a few more things with this thing, I think. So yeah, I really can't recommend it at this stage. Anyway, that was a long video. Hope you found it useful. Catch you next time. Oh yeah, discuss down below all that sort of YouTubey stuff that we say, and subscribe wherever it is at the end, and watch videos at the end of this thing. You know, whatever. Catch you next time.